What's going on, guys? Chase here. I got a first fit episode for you today, and it's about an action camera that used to be, or what I consider to be, a GoPro clone, and it has now risen to GoPro competitor. Talking about the Yi 4K Plus, and I kind of love this camera. So let me guess, you're sitting there thinking, Chase, is this another one of those GoPro clone videos? And the answer, surprisingly, is no. If I called this camera a GoPro clone, that would imply that it's cheaper, lower quality, and it's just some like wannabe camera to a GoPro. This is an actual GoPro competitor, which is really exciting for our little action camera market that we're in right now. So a little while back ago, I reviewed the lower end model of this camera, and I was actually so shocked at how well this did compared to a GoPro with similar stats that I said in that video I am going to get my hands on the upgraded model, because at that point this camera had just been announced. Thus, we are here. So guys, the 4K Plus is Yi's newest camera, and let me tell you, the image game is strong. On the outside, there's not too much to talk about. We have a real cool carbon fibery looking front. We've got a button on the top. On the side, we've got a USB-C port, and on the bottom, you're gonna find a tripod screw and a battery door. Inside that battery door, not only the battery is stored, but the micro SD card as well. So guys, the battery in this camera is a 1200 milliamp hour battery that, at recording at its max resolution, should last around the 70-minute mark, a little more than that. Based on my filming, I found that the camera normally lasts at about an hour mark. I can't really be too sad about that because it does have a replaceable battery, so if you wanted to record longer, all you have to do is pick up a couple extra batteries, and then you can record to your heart's content. So with a camera like this that literally only has one button on the outside, to change all the settings in the camera, you're gonna have to use the touchscreen on the back. After using it for a while, I'm pretty happy with it. It was really responsive and the UI was very intuitive to use. Although it looked a little old, I'm just a visual guy, so I get really stuck on that stuff. One thing I love about having a touchscreen on the back of my action camera is you can actually review the footage that you've gotten. Fun fact, while I was out recording with the Yi, one of the batteries died at some point in time. And when I stopped, I noticed that the camera had died. So what I was able to do, throw a new battery in there, and then I was able to review my last clip to see where it died, and that way I could go back and pick up right where I left off. That has come in crazy handy with action cameras, and it's a feature I'm really starting to love. Alright, so guys, let's take a minute and talk about frame rates and resolution, because that is where this camera shines. At a max resolution and frame rate, the Yi 4K Plus can shoot at 4K at 60 frames a second. That's a huge deal, and other than the GoPro Hero 6, I don't know of many other action cameras that can shoot that high of a resolution at that frame rate. From what I've heard from you guys, 60 frames a second for motovlogs is dang near required. Anytime I don't upload a video in 60 frames a second if it's a motovlog, you guys freak the hell out. And for us people that like overkill 4K, that puts us at a problem because we don't have many camera options. Well, now with the Yi 4K Plus, it's getting us one step closer to 4K 60 frames a second motovlogs. Because apparently overkill is awesome. Looking at you, Mr. Walterific. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys what you should think about the 4K 60 frames a second footage. I'm just going to show you. So here are some clips from the Yi 4K Plus at 4K at 60 frames a second. Alright, and just for fun, here is a side-by-side comparison of a GoPro Hero 6 and a Yi 4K Plus, both shooting at 4K at 60 frames a second. While you guys are watching this, I want to remind you guys that one of these cameras cost $200 more than the other one. Enjoy. So guys, obviously this camera can record many other frame rates other than the 4K at 60 frames a second. I'm not going to go over all those because frankly, that is boring as hell. If you want to check out their website, they have all the information on there for you. What I can tell you are some of my favorite options. So one is 4K wide, which opens up the field of view, but you can only film at 30 frames a second. Next is 2.7K at 60 frames a second in case you don't need that 4K goodness. And then if I want some wide angle slow motion, I've got 1080p wide, again, wider field of view, and that can shoot up to 90 frames a second, which is a fantastic option. So guys, the camera is able to shoot in different modes, including time-lapse, slow motion, loop, and video plus photo. Now, I don't really use any of these other modes, so I didn't really look into them much, but there is one mode that has me kind of interested. The camera can be powered externally by plugging a power source into the USB-C port, so the loop recording does have me really interested. Highly considering wiring some sort of power source to the camera, mounting it to the bike, and just putting it in loop mode. That way, if anything happens, I click the record button and I have that stuff saved. The loop recording options are 5, 20, 60, and 120 minutes, and there's even a recording setting called max that's going to be dictated by the size of your SD card. What it's going to do is record constantly, and whenever you hit the record button, it's going to save that last interval. So it lasts 5 minutes, last 120 minutes, whatever you want to use. So guys, one nice feature the camera has is EIS, which stands for Electronic Image Stabilization. Basically, the camera is going to take your footage and do its best to take out all of the little shaking you do in it. One thing I noticed with testing it and the GoPro Hero 6 is that the GoPro handles shaking a little bit better. Regardless, having an action camera where normally you're going to be in an action situation, things are going to be shaking when they move, it's really nice that your action camera is going to help you get a little bit stabler footage. It's going to make it much more watchable at the end of the day. So guys, there's actually an app that is paired with the Yi that you can download, and you can use that to control the camera if you're not right next to it. Now, the first time I downloaded the app and I connected it to the camera, this popped up. Now, I can't read Chinese or Japanese or whatever the heck that is, but I'm just gonna hope that that meant download, like the new firmware update. So after using the app for a little bit, it is nice to have an app that can control your camera, but I kept running into issues where the app would try to go from photo to video mode, but it just would click back into the other mode. The app just has a lot of bugs right now, and it's not fully fleshed out, so I'm gonna recommend you guys just skip the app overall. At least as of recording this video, apps can always be updated, so if you do get one of the Yi 4K Pluses, just download the app just to make sure that it's working now. Hopefully they'll fix that pretty soon. Alright, so guys, let's talk pricing because it's extremely important in this conversation. The Yi 4K Plus comes in at $299. I want you guys to keep in mind the GoPro Hero 6, which is the Yi's main competitor when it comes to stats, is $499. That's a $200 difference, and it's absolutely insane. I do want to note that when you get the Yi 4K Plus at $299, it does not come with a waterproof housing. So what you can do is buy a bundle that costs $330, and that comes with a waterproof housing, the Yi, and a charging cable, and all that kind of stuff. Now, even with that, we are still talking a price difference of $170, which I just don't understand how that even works for two cameras that function almost identically. Now, one thing I do want to note, the GoPro is waterproof out of the box, no housing, no waterproof housing needed. So if you want to shoot underwater in a wet environment with the Yi, you are going to have to buy a waterproof housing. Just trying to be fair. So guys, we've been saying a lot of good stuff about the Yi, so there's got to be something bad, right? Well, unfortunately there is, and even more unfortunately, it's a huge freaking deal. Before I even get into it, I gotta tell you guys, I was doing all this testing on the Yi 4K Plus, and I was like, holy crap, this is gonna be my new camera, because I'm really not a fan of the Hero 6. We'll get into that in another video. But I got to this final test, and I found out the one thing that a GoPro can do that the Yi just cannot do yet, and that's handle microphone volume. Now, I will give props to Yi. Their microphone adapter is a USB-C thin cable to a microphone port. It's not this big clunky thing with a giant box, and it's definitely not $50 freaking dollars, and they don't require you to have it to get audio. But it just cannot handle microphone volume. I'm gonna show you guys a clip of what happened when I plugged it in to my microphone setup on my helmet.
Most of you guys are probably not going to be taking these cameras to what most of you guys do. They take them to a park, they put them on the tripod, and then they show you some time lapse of a.
Now, just for comparison's sake, I'm going to show you guys a clip of a normal motovlog that I go on where I use a GoPro Hero Session 5. The only thing that has changed between the audio in these two clips is the camera I'm using. I'm using the same microphone in the same place, routed the exact same. Here's the difference.
Today I choose to come out here and test heated gloves. It is literally the perfect temperature outside. It's like 70 degrees, which I'm not complaining.
So guys, obviously the E4K Plus is not going to be replacing my helmet camera anytime soon. I got to have really good audio performance out of that, and it's just not there. What I can say is after doing all this testing and seeing what the footage looked like, I'm going to 100% be using it as my new on-bike camera. I really prefer the way the Yi looks, and it is 1,000 times more simple to work with the 4K 60 files out of the Yi instead of the really weird codec that the Hero 6 uses. I'll talk more about that in a future video, but I can't stand it. So guys, for now, I can say I highly recommend you checking out the Yi 4K action camera if you're in the market for an action camera. Asterisk, as long as you're not going to be using it for motovlogging or plugging a microphone into it. If you are looking for a camera to plug a microphone into, I'm going to stick with my old recommendation of you guys getting a Hero 5 Session with that stupid giant GoPro audio adapter that they make you buy. Now, if you're looking for a camera just to stick on your bike or just to get shots that you don't really need audio in, highly could not recommend a camera more than this guy. And guys, that's about all I've got for the Yi 4K Plus. If you're interested in it, want more information, or want to purchase one for yourself, as always, I've left links down below. If you purchase using those links, you actually help the channel out, and it doesn't cost anything more to you, so massive appreciation for you guys that do that. If you guys found this video interesting or helpful, make sure to hit that like button, because it always helps us out here on the channel. And yeah, I'm Chaseontwowheels. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. You guys go out there and ride positive. Later. I don't know what that head thing was, but outro crew, enjoy the outtakes of that video. They're interesting. So the battery in this camera is a 1200 hour milliamp, 1200 hour. That's a long time. That's a lot of battery time. It's by a company called Yi Technologies. It's their 4K Plus, and this thing is dope. That is literally nothing of what I just read. So a little while back ago, I did a review of the lower end model of this camera, and I was actually So the Yi 4K Plus is Yi's newest. It's a fucking cow. Great. So guys, the 4K Plus is Yi's brand new. So guys, the 4K Plus is such a minimal button setup at the motovlogs. Because, you know, overkill is awesome. That's right. I'm looking at you, Walter. I'm also going to go answer the door now. That UPS lady seemed really distressed. That's funny. Okay. I'm going to redo the resolution thing. God. Your packages are here. Oh, that's terrible.